Hi folks, HR Funk here. And once again, I have with me in front of the camera my Pieta replica of a Remington New Model Army cap and ball revolver. This is a sheriff's model with the shorter barrel. No, this is not an historically correct firearm. There were never any revolvers that came from Remington in this barrel length, but I really like this little revolver because it's so easy to carry with me out in the field. And I've talked before, in the fall of the year, it really puts me in the mood to go out and shoot black powder firearms. And this past weekend, I had a day that was cool, it was kind of cloudy, overcast, and it was really perfect for two things. One was shooting black powder firearms, and the other was conducting chronograph tests. And I thought about a year or so ago, I conducted a test with this revolver and also with my full-length New Model Army replica, where I was comparing the velocities that I was getting with regular black powder to those that I was getting from Hodgson's 777. And in that video, I found that I was getting higher velocities with the 777 powder, but some of you commented that I would get even better velocity still if I was using 454 diameter round balls in my revolver, as opposed to the 451 diameter balls that I was using in that video. And I have to say, I'm kind of skeptical of that, because when you seat a ball in the cylinder of these revolvers, regardless of what diameter it begins measuring, once it's seated and the outside ring of lead is shaved away, the ball now conforms to the inner diameter of the chambers in the cylinder. So I wasn't really sure that it was going to make that much difference, and there's not much difference in the weight of those two balls. The 451 diameter round balls are weighing about 140 grains. The 454 diameter balls weigh about 1 grain more. They're weighing about 141 grains. The only other thing that changes a little bit is, since the 454 diameter balls are slightly larger in diameter, there's a little bit more surface area exposed when they are forced into the chambers. So that might create a little bit more friction, but we're talking frictions in the thousandths of an inch, and I really just was not sure it was going to make that much difference whether I used the 451 diameter ball or the 454 diameter ball when it came to measuring velocities. But I had such a good day for trying to test that theory that I decided that I wanted to go ahead and find out. So I loaded everything up, I headed out to the range, and first I loaded the revolver with the 451 diameter balls, and the powder once again was 777. The charge was 30 grains that I measured as accurately as I could. Poured the 30 grains of 777 powder into the chamber. I also covered that powder charge with an ox yoke Wonder Wad that is impregnated with a lube that helps keep down fouling in the barrel, and then I seated the ball on top of the Wonder Wad and the powder charge. For my cap, I was using CCI number 10 caps, and first off, I started out shooting from a distance of 10 feet from the chronograph with the 451 diameter balls, and here are the velocity results I got while conducting that test. After that, I performed the exact same test using the same 30 grains of 777 powder, the same ox yoke Wonder Wad, but this time I was seating the 454 diameter balls, and here's what my velocity readings looked like with those. So a couple of things really struck me with the chronograph results. First off, those of you that said the larger diameter ball would give greater velocities were correct. The average velocity that I got with the 451 diameter ball was 730 feet per second, whereas the average velocity that I got with the larger 454 diameter ball was 851 feet per second. So a difference of about 121 feet per second. But the thing that struck me even more than the greater velocity was the greater consistency in my velocities with the 454 diameter balls. With the smaller 451 diameter balls, I had a extreme spread of 225 feet per second, so a wide extreme spread with those smaller diameter balls, whereas with the 454 diameter balls, I had an extreme spread of only 74 feet per second, so that is huge. Much, much better consistency in my velocities with those larger balls. To give this all a little bit more context, with the average velocity of the smaller 451 diameter balls and that average velocity of 730 feet per second, the average energy, and this is the average, this is not the low end, but the average energy was about 166 foot-pounds. That's significantly less than a 22 long rifle CCI Stinger fired from a rifle length barrel. So the energy was very, very low, but with the larger diameter ball and that average velocity of 851 feet per second, I was getting 227 foot-pounds of energy, which is about the same as a 38 special loading. So respectable energy, respectable velocity, and much, much greater consistency with that larger ball. Now here's the other thing I was curious about, and that is, did the larger 454 diameter ball yield better accuracy, or was there going to be a measurable difference in that category? Now you couldn't see it when I was conducting the chronograph test, but directly behind the chronograph I had a target, so each time I was shooting those balls for velocity readings, I was also trying to make the most precise shot that I could on the bullseye target. I'm going to pull the target out now and show you what the results of the initial accuracy test were. So this is that target that was positioned directly behind my chronograph as I was shooting. And this target is the one where I was shooting the 451 diameter round balls, and this is the target from the 454 diameter round balls. And you can see with the 451, I was getting some vertical stringing. Now this is only from 10 feet, so if I went to a more lengthy distance, this would certainly be a larger group. But I was getting that vertical stringing and the accuracy just wasn't looking that good. When I look at this, and by the way, this tear over here is from one of the wads that went through the cardboard. So this is not one of the balls hitting over there. Same with this one up here. This is just a wad. I've got 6 shots that are in a one-hole group from that distance of 10 feet. So this group was looking much tighter than the one that I got with the 451 diameter balls, but I don't do my most accurate shooting when I am shooting over a chronograph. There's always something in the back of my mind where I'm a little bit worried about zapping the chronograph, and I've just always noticed that it affects my accuracy some. So I wanted to try another accuracy test from a greater distance. So I removed the chronograph because I had completed the velocity testing at that point and backed off to a distance of 7 yards, and from 7 yards I repeated my accuracy test, and I was trying to fire the most accurate shots I possibly could from that distance, and here's what it looked like on the range. Now, just a general comment I want to make at this point is how about the accuracy I'm getting from that Pieta revolver with just plain old lead round balls and 777 powder. This is the first target with the 451 diameter balls, and I pulled one shot down here. This was almost certainly me. I didn't see the sight move, but this is the other 5 shots out of that cylinder right then, or right there rather, forming one hole. And unlike the one hole group we saw before, this was fired from 7 yards, not 10 feet. Moving over to this target, I started to feel a little bit shaky. I think these shots that started to wander were me. I definitely saw the sight move on one. This one, I think I saw it start to drift a little bit. So I've got 4 of the 6 shots right here. One drifted just to the right, and then one of them was just not a very good shot. So when it comes to accuracy, between the 451 diameter balls and the 454 diameter balls, I don't know. You be the judge on that. I'm pretty happy with both of these from that Pieta revolver. And I think that probably if I want to get the nth degree of accuracy, I'll go with the larger balls, because if for no other reason, I know I'm getting more consistent velocity, which should translate to better accuracy. But I'm also not going to feel too bad when I shoot up the rest of those 451 diameter balls, because I'm still getting very, very good accuracy with those. A couple of other points about the target here before I move on, folks. First off, my point of aim for all of these was 6 o'clock on the bullseye, and I know that Pieta revolver hits slightly low and slightly to the left. I've noticed that in the past, and the elevation I could change if I wanted to do some filing on the front sight. I just haven't wanted to do any filing on the front sight. I also haven't wanted to try to tap it one way or the other to try to bring my windage in, because it's just not off that much for my purposes to have to want to go to those extremes to try to change my point of impact. So you notice all the groups are a little low, and most of them are showing a tendency to be off to the left. My point of aim for these targets was right here at the bottom tip of this diamond. That's where I had the tip of my front sight. And we can see with the 451 diameter balls, at least in this group, we weren't seeing that tendency to go low, whereas the 454 diameter balls were hitting a little bit lower on this target over here. So I did want to point those two things out. I also wanted to mention that all of this is really academic. The real question is, how are those balls going to perform on a real threat like some water bottle desperados? Well, a couple of them showed up on the range just as I was getting ready to pack up, and as luck would have it, the first one got a 451 diameter ball, the second one got a 454 diameter ball, and here's what it looked like. So there you go, folks. This was just a fun video today doing some testing on my black powder cap and ball revolver. And by the way, those of you who said that I would get better results with the 454 diameter balls were right. I was wrong. I'm a big enough man that I could admit when I was wrong. And that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 7% off your purchase from Optics Planet. Also, remember the discount code from House of Pain Munitions. If you go to House of Pain Munitions or Armament, you can use my discount code there, which is HRFUNK10, and that'll save you 10% off your purchase from House of Pain. Last but not least is the Target sponsor. And again, I was using one of their Targets today. Go to Targets online, check out their inventory, and see if they have anything that's going to meet your Target needs. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.